Hello， 大家好，我是吕阳，欢迎来到我们又一期的节目。在葡萄酒的世界，有一个品牌，有一个酒庄，它的名气、它的地位、它的价值，甚至它的意义，已经远远超过葡萄酒本身的范围。那这个名字就是拉菲。我相信，无论你是葡萄酒的爱好者，还是平时不喝葡萄酒，甚至跟葡萄酒都没有任何关系，你可能都听过拉菲这个名字。那它到底代表着什么？它象征着什么？它从哪里来？它想做什么？它想表达什么？今天我们很有幸请到了拉菲的女庄主 Saskia， 跟我们聊一聊拉菲的故事，她的故事。她在而立之年的时候，就从她父亲手中接过重任，掌管整个拉菲罗斯柴尔德家族的重担，去向全世界去讲她的故事。那她又给拉菲带来什么样的改变？她对拉菲的愿景是什么？我们今天跟他聊一聊，让大家更好的了解拉菲。Great to have you on the show. A great pleasure of us. So, as such iconic name and a legendary producer, the name of Lafite. Can you just, from your own words, tell us the story of the whole group?
Okay, so Lafite has been making wine for centuries. Our family arrived there more than 150 years ago, so in 1868. So it was actually my great-great-great-great-grandfather, Baron James, who decided to buy a vineyard. At the time, he was a German Jewish immigrant with a strong accent, and actually he died shortly after, and it was his widow. So who was the first woman, the first person to spend time in Lafite. Okay. And she planted a very old alley of oak trees that we have behind the Château. Mm-hmm. And I grew up running behind and inside those trees. And so to me, it's history, it's every moment in all the decades, there's always been a person of our family being there. And so it's a place that we transmit from one generation to the next, where human beings are not a big part of the equation. The biggest part of the equation is actually the nature, the vines, and the story and the magical sensation and intangible value of being there. So it's a really magical place, and I think that's what I remember. If you look at the name Lafite, what does it mean? It's the little hill. Yeah. It's the highest point in Pauillac, and so it's all about the land. And the name of Lafite is all about the land.
You probably tried all the vintage of Lafite. In my experience, I tried many vintage of Lafite that really touched me. Great ageability, the perfect balance between elegance and power. Mm-hmm. But in your own words, if I give you 1 minute to explain why Lafite is so special.
To me, Lafite is special because it's subtle, and it's always it comes at you by surprise, a little bit like someone that you fall in love with. Like Lafite is never the wine that people will say wow to, but it's the wine you'll remember. Okay. And I think that's what I always link Lafite to, and I think it's so special. It's a wine of memory.
Wines of memory.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, your father Eric has been at the head of the family for so long and elevated Lafite to a new level, no matter his recognition or quality or everything, or even the price as well. But so now, since a few years ago, you start to be in charge of the whole group. Do you feel any pressure handing over the baton, become the leader of the family?
My parents were very open-minded when we were growing up, mm-hmm. and I never thought that I would be working for my family. So I think that really protected me from feeling the pressure. When we started to talk with my father about me coming to work with him, I had another job. I was a journalist in West Africa, working for the New York Times as a correspondent. And I remember telling him, look, if I'm gonna come and work with you, I'm going to come and live there, and I'm going to study viticulture and enology. I'm going to go back to school, and this is going to change my life. Then he was very, very open-minded about all of this. And when we exchanged, he said, I think you're the right person because you will protect what you grew up with.
Okay.
And so
That's
there was
good
this,
reason.
yeah, so there was this notion of protection. And I think today in the world we live in and with the environment and everything that is happening, we need to be protectors. Okay. And in order to protect what we were given, you need to take risk. I'm not saying to protect, you need to sit on the side of the road and do exactly like your predecessors did. To protect, you need to be very bold and actually take a lot of risk. But I really like this idea. My father was more of a developer, you know, and now I'm in a generation where our role is to protect.
Okay. So each generation has their own ideas, has their own ideologies, and most likely many generations want to do different things with the previous generation. What have you changed from your father's era?
One of the main points that I really worked on since I've been in Pauillac since 2016 is viticulture. My passion is in the vineyard, and one work we've been doing with Eric, who works with me at Lafite, is a lot of experimenting at first for 3 vintages and on organic farming and biodynamic also. And it was in a place like Lafite, which is, as you said, very statutory and quite a traditional. You don't change things from one day to the next. You know, things take time. In wine, things take time. So it was really putting together a plan of how we would transform viticulture in Lafite. We actually prepared the vineyard to become an organic vineyard, which we did since 2021.
And in the process of getting biodynamic too, or is that a direction you're gonna definitely go?
So biodynamic, we don't see as a, we don't see as a dogma. We see really as a tool and a study. So we've been farming 14 and then 20 hectares in biodynamic since 2017. Since I started in 2016, I've seen the vintages become earlier. I've seen the summers be hotter. I've seen this. And, when you work with nature, you become obsessed with the weather. I spend my days on weather apps during the summer. Okay. And so you have to, be conscious of this, and you have to be conscious of how we can adapt to this in winemaking. So that's really a huge topic of ours.
So Saskia, let's try some of your wines.
Sure.
We have 2 bottles. Let's try the Lafite 2008 first.
Sure.
Okay. I ask a question to every single winemaker, from champagne to white wine to red wine to different regions. What's your take on decantation?
So in Lafite, we believe in decanting wines, but we never pour them in a decanter.
Okay.
We decant in another bottle and we put it back in the bottle.
So you do double decanting?
Yeah.
Okay. So just for give them a bit air? Or?
Exactly. Okay. Just to give it a bit of air, and also so you try to check that it doesn't. The bottle, of course, is in good shape, and also then it's back in its bottle. First, aesthetically, I think it's so beautiful, the bottle of wine.
So you never put a bottle of Lafite in a large decanter for a long time?
Never.
Never. What's the reason?
Because I think it needs to change in the glass.
Okay.
I like that it changes in the glass. It's part of the journey. It's part of the journey to wait, to taste, then to retaste, to see the wine evolve. It's really fun, and also just I think it's seeing the wine inside its bottle. To me it's very moving, because I think that bottle, when you drink old wines, that bottle was there when the wine was made.
Yeah, it's part of memory as well. Cheers. 2008, very famously, you put the Chinese letter or Chinese cracker of 8 on the label. It actually has received very mixed reaction from the collectors. What's your reason behind?
So we have this story of wanting to put a symbol on important years. It goes back to the 1945 when the state was freed and our family could go back. We thought, okay, we need to mark this. So that's why we put symbol on the glass.
Okay.
1945.
Okay.
Since then, 85 has a symbol, a comet, a star, because it was the year of Halley's comet. So it's just something that we want to remember.
Okay.
That we put on the bottle.
Okay.
And so why did we put that? It's the first time we actually decided to invest and plant a vineyard in China. It's also because it looks like a hill, and Lafite was the hill, so we thought the character was very beautiful, and so it's a...
I think this is very important to clarify. That's why I ask, because many people think you put 8 on the bottle means a good fortune. Yeah. So,
no, it's part of the Lafite story. You know, it's that year we went we signed the decision to
start with don't die.
Yeah. So it's that's the symbol.
So if you can use only one word or one phrase to describe the personality or characteristic of Lafite, no matter it's technically or emotionally, what will be that one word?
On this wine?
No, I mean the Lafite. Yeah.
Every Lafite.
Just Château Lafite in general.
But it's gonna be quite boring. But I would like to say balance.
Balance.
Yeah, it's boring, but it's true. You know, I think it's for things to last. You need balance.
Okay.
And what we want with Lafite is things to last.
Okay. I'm a big fan of Chablis, and it's very refreshing for me to see that just recently you acquired a quite well-known domain in Chablis, William Favre. So what's the vision and the motivation behind this acquisition?
So we're big fans of, so personally, I'm a big fan of white wine. So I grew up drinking a lot of Pauillac and a lot of red wine with my dad. But my more recent wine journey and my more personal one, I think took me also towards white wine. And also what I mentioned before, this generational thing of being obsessed with what is happening with the climate and the environment.
Yes.
If you look at these two personal things, they matter in the fact that we acquired Chablis, an estate in Chablis. If you look at us as a company, as DBR Lafite as a company, there is we needed a white icon.
Let's talk about some topics at a bit on the bigger scale. Unpremier system, it has been in place for so long. It has been a staple of Bordeaux trade. But in recent years, there's certain industry peers that said, okay, it's out of date, it's not necessary. So what's your view on this whole unpremier system under the current circumstance?
So I'm a big believer in en primeur. It allows us to focus, and it allows us to focus on quality. And it allows us also to make wine every year. Okay. And so if you look at that, that's one point. Then the second point, we had the pandemic. I don't know if you remember, but when the pandemic hit Bordeaux, there was some voices who said, we should cancel en primeur. Why would we cancel en primeur? You know, it's a tradition, it's a system that we have, and especially en primeur follows also what is happening in the world. So I think it was very important that we had an en primeur campaign. So I think that I'm a firm believer in en primeur when, of course, people set the price in a way that allows the whole chain and the whole people around the world to be able to have a profit out of it. If you think of today's world, we're in an economic situation that is more difficult. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are going up. Mm-hmm. It's more difficult for people to have inventory. Okay. So is this system not for every wine? Maybe. Should not every Bordeaux wine come out en primeur? Maybe. But for a few wines and for every estate to consider that there is a system that works and for great vintages, I think it's a great system. Okay.
And over the past, I think, 2 or 3 decades, there has been a consistent, again, very honest question. Okay, so there's been a consistent criticism on the Bordeaux, the whole system, the whole trade, especially on the constantly increment of the price. Some people even labeled Bordeaux being greedy. Is there a take? I just want to know what's your view on this?
So it's interesting that you're saying that, because actually Bordeaux compared to Napa, for example. Napa puts the price up every year. Bordeaux doesn't. Bordeaux, on 2020, the price went down. In when we released the 2021 and 22, typically we put our price down because we considered that the level of the 21 vintage was not to the level of 2020. So I think that Bordeaux is one place that considers the market, but also the quality of the wine.
Okay. Looking ahead for the next, let's say, 10 years, the next decades, what do you think is a challenge and opportunity for Bordeaux as a whole?
To me, the biggest challenge with Bordeaux is a question of image. It's a question of image and storytelling. You know, there's great wine everywhere in the world now, and I think that we need to be telling the stories of the wine of Bordeaux more than ever, to explain what's behind the label. It's telling the story differently also. Actually, being on the market, I think that sometimes people do not talk enough. They don't understand what the customer wants to hear and how they need to hear the story. So I think it's all about sharing and changing the story.
Okay. You mentioned the most significant challenge you think Bordeaux is facing, the image issue. But what do you think will be the opportunity for Bordeaux?
Opportunity.
Yeah.
If you keep quality, I think there will be opportunities. The main thing is you should never forget that the objective is to make great wine. I think there's an opportunity in the rise of white wine, maybe, because I see a lot of estates and Bordeaux looking at that.